Welcome back, guys. Welcome to the Weed Mind. Once again, I'm Nick, and this time around we're going to go over a whole bunch of overclocks for Ergo on a multitude of NVIDIA cards. And this is the coin that a lot of people are clamoring about and saying everybody's going to go to. Why is that? It's easy to mine. A lot of the Ethereum settings that you guys have kind of go over, and it's a lot less power to use. All right, we're back here at the mine, and as far as Ergo settings go, Ergo settings are fairly similar to Ethereum. So if you have all your rigs set to whatever Ethereum clocks that you guys have, switching it over to Autolykos Ergo is going to be fairly simple. It's going to be fairly straightforward. As you can see right now, we're over 14 gigahash on Ergo, and over here at 2 miners or whatever, we're not doing too bad. We literally just turned these things on, and you know, this where it says we're getting 15 erg a day or whatever, that will certainly go up because the 24-hour thing or whatever. But I put a whole bunch of rigs on here, and let's see what some of the clock settings are. See, the AMD rigs we have not messed with yet because they're BIOS flash and all these other crazy settings. I will make a separate video that goes over it, and I'll tackle multiple different ones just for the 5700 XTs and Vega 64s that I have. So those are the only 2 AMD cards I got, but I got a lot more on the NVIDIA. Let's go to rig 1 once again. 3080s right off the bat, as you can see, 201.5 mega hash on the Zotac. Just like the other video, I don't like Zotac bad. If you want a little bit more of an explanation, maybe I should do just a video on Zotac and all my pains with it, but you know, that's beside the point. 3080, 201.5 mega hash. That's really close to pretty much just about all the things. You got a whole bunch of 3080s here. They're all sitting around 200. More or less, that's pretty good. Sitting around 190 watts. Now, 190 watts, 186 watts, 180 watts. It's all going to vary a little bit. Right now, I don't have a power limit set. Now, these are kind of the best settings to go with to kind of start off with. They're not necessarily what you can, you know, really truly expect. But all right, so the core, I have my 3080 set at 1120 locked and memory at 2000. There is some leeway there. Right now, I am just kind of sitting them at really good stable clocks. These seem to be ones that I'm just going to probably stick with, but keep in mind there's always going to be a little bit of fluctuation, a little bit of tweaking, depending on the brand, blah, blah, blah. The usual kind of stuff with us miners and dealing with GPUs of different brands and AIOs or whatever the heck. So 1120 for the core, 2000 for the memory seems to be the overall go-to. And we go down to these 2080 Ti's. Do yourself a favor. When it comes to 2080 Ti's, mining on Ergo is not going to be efficient, it seems. All right, 2080 Ti's really shine on flux. If you have 2080 Ti's in your farm or any whatsoever, put them over on flux. The absolute most efficient anything over on flux. It's fine. Right here, you know, I got mine at 1350 locked core and only 400 memory. A couple of my 2080 Ti's just aren't happy. They're not. See, this one I got 1350. This one's at 1120. My 2080 Ti's are not happy on Autolykos, but one of my 2080 Ti's, probably this guy, is a little on the janky side. Actually, they're both a little janky. Let's be honest. But if I throw them over on Flux, they do a little better. So that's just that kind of thing. So 2080 Ti's, you can go with these settings that I have here, tweak it from there. Memory, you should be able to do an awful lot more on these. So my 105 is kind of crapola, to be completely honest. Like, you should be able to overclock the memory to like 2000, something like that, or maybe even more. But for whatever reason, mine just don't like that idea. So keep that in mind if you guys are messing with it. Put the core at 1120, try taking memory to 2000, and just kind of go from there. If it crashes, lower it. If it crashes, lower it, etc., etc. Trial and error on those. Let's go ahead. Let's see. Rig 4. These are all 3090s along with one 3090 Ti. Now, the 3090s, I have the core locked at 1600, memory at 3200. Now, you're going to see a lot of people do videos where they just leave the core at 0. They don't mess with it. For me, when you lock the core and lock the memory or whatever, you don't really need to worry about power limits so much, unless it's only when you're trying to get to really fine tweaking when you need to put in that power limit, and quite often you just don't need it. At least in my case, I haven't needed it. 3090s, I got it set at 1600 core, 3200 memory. Some of them I'll put a little higher, some of them I'll put lower. It really all depends. Now, the 3090 Ti, I actually really like these. Okay. Now, the memory, I could probably go higher. I haven't messed with it. There's no real guides for a 3090 Ti. Okay. They're not out in the wild into a lot of mining farms right now because they're 3090 Ti's. They're super expensive and everything. But in all reality, in terms of efficiency and everything, they're pretty good. This guy's doing 273.8. I know I can get more. I have to tweak the clock some more. I have to tweak the memory some more. I should be able to jack that memory up to like 3000, 3200 or so, just like the 3090s. But right now, this seems to be running stable. I bumped the core up a little bit more. I might be able to scale that back. But as you can see, like, you know, you got a 3090 right above it, taking more watts than the 3090 Ti, while the 3090 Ti gets, you know, 6 more hash, 5 more hash, or whatever. Okay, if you're just comparing them to, 3090 Ti is more efficient. If you bring this guy into the fold, not so much. That's pretty much the same, better, same. It's really going to be hit and miss. That's the 3090 Ti is, of course, EVGA for the Win 3 edition. I do believe I can get more out of it. If you guys have a chance to get 3090 Ti's for a reasonable price, which is kind of hard to do, to be honest, maybe not so bad to throw it on Autolykos, Ergo here, and really kind of tweak it and go, because it seems like it's going to be more efficient than even a 3090. A lot of people got 3090s. 3090s are actually pretty efficient. They're expensive, they're powerful, the hash rate makes up for it. So 3090 Ti seem to be doing just that little tiny bit better, and I really like that. So 3090s themselves, 1600 core lock, 3200 memory. If 3200 memory craps out on you, just lower it to 3000. If that craps out, try 2800. If that craps out, then you might have a bad card or at least silicon lottery loss, I should say. So those are the settings with that. And like even the PNY guy, even the PNY one's doing fine. But look at this. It doesn't like to report accurate wattage, so I don't really know if it's running efficient or what. Some of my cards are janky. We all know this. Let's see. Go to rig 5. I think we just got 3080s there. These are all. This is a full EVGA 4 to Win 3 rig. They're all running damn near identical. All identical settings. Except this guy is only using 6 watts. Wow, that's really efficient, ain't it? That's super efficient. It's reporting wrong. It's this one's always been reporting wrong. It runs perfectly fine, but it just doesn't tell me anything. Oh, this is rig 6. You know, these are all Zotac, sadly, 3080s, but they are all running perfectly fine. Wattage, everything's doing good. All right, not going to complain there. Head over to the water rig. These are all almost identical. You'll notice I got 3200 and 3200, and these I all set at 3000. This one I was actually still in the process of tweaking a little bit because there's one card in here that I'm not sure which one it is, because it crashes so quick and I can't get to it. But there's one in here that does not like the memory set a little too high. So one of these guys, if I set it at 3200, will crash the whole thing. But the rest of them can. I'm still trial and erroring on this, guys. But overall, 1600 core, 3200 memory on those 3090s should just be perfectly fine. Let's see. LHR1. These are 3080 Ti LHR. For the most part, or you can leave alone, memory at 2800 or even higher, 3000 or even 3200 works on some. The LHR cards does seem like you need to power limit them, or otherwise they'll just go, ape, you know what. Okay, so a lot of times I see people setting it at 220 or even 225 power limit. I find at 230 gives it just that little tiny bit of edge, a little bit more hash, not much more power, and stable. Seems to be pretty good. Now, all of these are, of course, EVGA for the Win 3 editions, as I mentioned, but except for this guy, the MSI guy. This guy is just a Ventus 3X, okay? And for whatever reason, I always have problems with this guy. I have to jack the power up a little bit more, 10 more watts compared to the others, just to get close to the reasonable hash rate here. So it's using 10 more watts and not doing quite as good. Maybe I should just get rid of this guy, but overall, he's all right. The MSI Ventus cards I usually try to avoid. The Trio X's or Trio Z's even, they're better, but there seems to be something with MSI cards, at least in terms of the LHR ones, where it doesn't like to be messed with all that much. Or it just needs more power because. Why, I don't know. That just seems to be my running thing with MSI cards. LHR2. We got ourselves 3060 Ti's, 3070 Ti's, 3080 Ti's. Got a whole bunch of stuff in here. So 3060 Ti's, all of mine are, let's say it again, EVGA for the Win 3 editions. I love EVGA. Okay, we know. Core 1605 locked memory 3600. These are the Hynix cards. When you get your, if you're messing with your 3060 Ti's, check if it's Hynix or Micron. The settings can and will be different, so be careful. These, all mine happen to be Hynix, so we'll just go with that. 1605 core locked 3600 memory. We're getting 168.1 at 122 watts. It seems to be relatively the same across the board. 128, 128, 168. Pretty consistent there with all of those. 3070 Ti's, we get just a little bit more. Not much. Like, what is that, 6 more? Really ain't terribly worth it with a lot more wattage. We got the core locked at 2000, memory at 2000, and that 190. Why is that core locked at 2000? It's not supposed to be locked at 2000. You're eating too much power. Okay, so this guy's jank. I don't know why the heck he's got that. You need to be locked at 1600. I have made a mistake. Clicky. Okay, that's, ignore the one on the bottom. We're going to just go to that. Ignore that. 166 watts, 174 hash. We could probably tweak that a little bit more. I think I can do about 2400, 2600 on the memory, but one of mine is causing a little bit of an issues. And if you guys got larger farms, you know the pain. You could have 18 of the same card, and every single one of them could be their own little you-know-what. And every single one of them could be a little bit of a fine tweak one way or the other to try to get the max out of it. And yeah, they could be such a pain. But in my case, 3070 Ti, these 3070 Ti LHR, I got one MSI, I've got one EVGA, and one Asus. And of course, the EVGA one is seemingly running the most stable and using the least power, at least for now. Let's do a refresh. Yeah, this guy's coming down a little bit in power. How's it comparing to the EVGA? 144, 140. It still has a little time to settle, but expect about 174. I do want to bump the memory up some more. If I do it right now, I'll probably end up crashing the rigs, but you know, such is life when you're mining. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys. So that's basically the gist of what I got going here. Ergo, I love Ergo. I love Ergo. Let me go to the main thing here. Let's see. Power consumption. 13,400 kilowatts. On Ethereum, I'm roughly 3,000 more watts. Okay. I absolutely love Ergo. Ergo, it's easy to overclock cards with. Okay, there's no weird fussing or whatever with these. It uses significantly less power. The temperatures remain low and stable and happy. Ethereum, not so much on some of these cards. Like whenever I mine Ethereum on my water rig, even though everything is water cooled, it produces so much heat that these usually start to overheat a little bit. And right now, not so much. It seems like Autolykos, the algorithm is easier on the cards. It uses less power, less heat. I absolutely adore Ergo, and I'm hoping, very much hoping, that Ergo is the next go-to, because a lower power bill is a great power bill. So if any of you guys have any questions, put them down below. 3070s on Ergo do seem to be very, very efficient. As I mentioned in the Flux video, I did used to have a couple of 3070s. Could have been that they were both Silicon lottery losses. I could have had really bad luck on those. I didn't get anywhere with them, so I stopped buying them completely. Maybe I should just go back and get a few more of them and try my luck again. But, you know, that was just me. A lot of people love 3070s. If you got a 3070, try to make it work because everybody seems to love them. So, oh man, as far as the AMD rigs go, I'll get to it. Catch you in the next video.